For this demo, we will start things off by drawing a circle. Once you have your circle drawn out, you will trace it with the 48 gauge wire, which is the thicker wire. So start unwinding your wire and tracing the circle you have drawn out. And once traced, make sure to leave enough wire left over in order to overlap the 48 gauge wire at least about an inch over each other. And you'll just cut off any excess that is left. So using your wire cutters, just cut off, leaving a little bit of excess just for room for error. And as you can see, I did way more than an inch, so I'll just cut off whatever is left. So I'm just making sure that it's about the same size as the circle I have drawn out, and I'm just cutting off the excess to try to leave at about an inch overlapping. So once you have the general shape, now bring out the 18 gauge wire, which is going to be the thinner wire, and cut off a small section. We will use this wire in order to bind the 48 gauge wire together. So for the binding, I like to start in the middle section and work my way out. So I'll just start wrapping it around the 48 gauge wire and working my way out. So in this process, the tighter your binding is to itself, the better. For me, I'm making a very sloppy job because I'm trying to keep the wire in frame, and I'm constantly looking at the camera instead of what I'm actually doing, so it's a little tricky. So bind it all the way till the overlap ends, and do the same for the other side. It should look something like this, just a little tighter though for you. Okay, now once done, you'll just use your wire cutters to remove any other excess. And whatever's left, just kind of push it down with your wire cutters. And you'll be repeating this step 4 times, making this is one cross section of a sphere we're going to be making. And we want to have at least 4 cross sections, which are the cross sections are the circles. So we have 1. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it kind of matches the general shape of the circle you drew out. And now that we have our 4 cross sections of our sphere, we will start to join them together. So in order to bind the spheres, the cross sections to make the sphere, we will make them cross each other, and we will loop 18 gauge wire twice one direction and twice the other direction onto itself. So right now I'm just kind of trying to find the center of both of the cross sections. Once I find a center by eyeing it, I'll take out my 18 gauge wire again and cut off another section. So once cut, again, I'm putting it down the middle and I'll start wrapping it. So for this wrapping, you just kind of want to do one going one direction and the other one going the opposite direction. Almost like a crisscross. So for this wire, I'm making it I'm wrapping it around on this section, and I'll put it on frame right now so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going down this direction for this one, and I usually do about 2 loops, sometimes more. And now I'll do the same with the other one, going the opposite direction. And you can do more than 2 wraps around, but be careful since this might make a knot in the binding and make it stick out more than it should. And for the excess, just wrap it around your 48 gauge wire in the different cross sections. So one should be on one cross section and the other one should go on the opposite cross section. If you're to put on the same cross section, you'll have shifting happening and it's just gonna make your life harder. So once you're done binding it, again, just cut off any excess. And you'll be repeating these steps with all your cross sections until you end up with a sphere. So make sure to bind all the corners like this. And each one you complete should look something like this. And you'll be doing that with all the places that the wire meets itself. So you'll be doing it the same on this side. And you'll be repeating those steps with all your cross sections until you end up with this sphere. So if you have any problems with the binding or the wire was just not cooperating, make sure to bring up any concerns on our next class meet and have fun with it. Don't stress out, it's just so y'all can get comfortable playing with wire. And it doesn't, your sphere does not have to look like mine, so no pressure. Mine is not that good. It was a very rushed job. I have faith that y'all's will come out better than mine.